Welcome back to my podcast, Grief the Real Talk. In today's episode, I'm discussing why it's often difficult for people to offer their condolences to us. Friends have asked me, what is the right thing people can say to us as condolences? It's a tricky topic because even I have trouble mustering up the right words when I offer my condolences to somebody else who has lost a loved one. The truth is, there are no right words that can help us in our saddest moments of loss. But one thing is for sure, there are lots of things you shouldn't say. Sometimes people who are lucky enough not to be familiar with this painful thing called grief and really don't know what to say to us may say the wrong things. Even though they may have good intentions, their words may not sound so great to us. Let's start with what not to say. When we hear things like, he's in a better place, he's at peace, you will feel better in time, blah, 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 blah. It only makes me think, no, he was better here with me. Now please just stop talking. A hug and I'm here for you go a long way, better than saying something foolish or meaningless. We don't need people to offer us cures for our broken hearts and souls. They are not comforting to us in the depths of our sadness, because there is no cure. Merely time and however long it takes for us to learn to live with the grief and move forward with it. Some people just feel compelled to blurt out things they think we want to hear, just as some will say things that we'd prefer better left unsaid. We need those around us to be non-judgmental, sometimes even silent with their presence, sometimes just being enough. We want to be around people who don't claim to have any easy words for us, but are comfortable sitting with us in our silence, or just to lend us their ear so we can talk about our lost loved one. I know myself that when I'm faced with someone who just lost a loved one, I too get uncomfortable in those moments, because I feel there just aren't any right words to make them feel better. Because really there aren't any magical words that can lessen our grief. And this is why people are often uncomfortable confronting us. Saying something heartfelt is a much better option in those awkward moments. What is heartfelt? To me, heart-filled words are those that convey an understanding of the person who is grieving. For example, if it's a friend or family who just lost someone, saying something like, I can't pretend to imagine your great loss, and I am here if you need to talk, does a lot more for me than someone saying things that have either no effect or leave the wrong taste. Typical sayings like he's in a better place or at least he isn't suffering anymore just doesn't cut it for me. Of course I didn't want my lost loved one to suffer, but I didn't want them to die either. In my heart, the better place is to have them still here with me. Not 6 feet under is what I want to shout back. Those are not words of comfort, but often people feel caught off guard when confronting a griever, and those words may be genuinely meant as condolence, even though these offerings don't feel warm and fuzzy to us. Many people are death averse. When faced with a griever, they seem like deer in headlights, stuck for words. Just as many others will dodge us for that exact same reason. Death is feared by most of us, and not a chosen topic of any conversation for most people, which doesn't give many an education on how to behave with a griever or how to deal with emotions. Whatever the reason for people creating distance from the griever, it makes it all so much sadder for the griever because those who were always in our circles were a common thread to us and our loved one, who now leave us feeling like it's just another loss snipped off, just adding more loss to our already heavy load of loss. I've read and listened to many different people talk about their grief journey and discuss their takes on the various forms of condolences, both acceptable and not. For most of those who stop coming around, they find it a dilemma wondering if they should mention our lost loved one or not, feeling as though they're bringing up painful memories, when in fact, it is painful for us to realize they'd rather abandon us because of their uncertainty or shame than acknowledge our loss and just be there for us unconditionally. Societal norms generally make people avoid talking about death and grieving, leaving them empty for the right thing to say when a friend or loved one is grieving. Others don't want to insert themselves in such a dark environment. People who don't know how to express themselves or who aren't emotionally demonstrative in everyday life will likely be ones who back away. Us grievers would be happier with truth rather than empty or nonsensical words. Tell us truths, not what you think is better for us or our lost loved one. Tell us things like, I can't even imagine what you're going through. I wish I had the right words for you, but I know right now nothing will ease your pain. Things like that are truth. You are expressing your heartfelt truth that you feel for us but have no words of wisdom to magically make us feel better. And we know you can't fix things, but we just want to know you care about us. As the ones left behind, we are in broken mode, and we wish you to just be there for us, even if it's just to sit or listen or offer up a hug. Pick up a phone, drop by for a visit, lend us an ear, open your heart. That's all we need. Please don't tell us you know how we feel, because you couldn't possibly know. Nobody's grief is the same. We all grieve differently and had our own unique relationship with the person lost. Comparisons are moot. Please don't compare your own experience with grief to ours in our darkest moment. That is not what a griever wants to hear in their own moments of grief. Every grief is unique to their person left behind. Everyone's relationship is different than another who has lost somebody. Just show up and let us lead the mood. If we want to talk, just be there to listen. If we aren't ready to talk, just sit with us in our silence. Don't ask what you can do. Just show up. I have watched many documentaries on grief as well as read many a book on the subject of grief in search of some solace, and also learned how other people go through this journey. I don't say went through the journey because it's a journey that never ends for many. We have to find a way to get through life while learning to carry it in our hearts and move forward with our grief. And this is no easy feat for most of us. It's something we will work on daily until we can find a comfortable way of living with our grief and tuck it into our hearts, not letting it take over our whole being. There is no time limit for this, as every single individual carrying grief will experience their own individual timeline with their progress. So please, don't stress out trying to think of grand solutions for us. Just be you, be present, and be true. I'll be taking a winter break away from the cold and digital media world for the next month, and I will resume podcasting in late March. I hope you will join me back here. Thank you.